Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the chaos of traditional construction planning? Revolutionize your approach with advanced BIM strategies. Masters in Global BIM Management. Enroll now.
Hello everyone. Welcome to today's session, Navigating Through openBIM, a practical standards and services guide for early adopters and advanced users. Thank you for joining us. In this exclusive masterclass, you will discover how open standards can enhance project efficiency, transparency, and collaboration across the entire life cycle. My name is Thaisa Figueiroa. I'm Institutional Relations and Program Owner here at ZIGURAT, and it's my pleasure to be today's host. So if it's the first time, your first time with us, here's a quick introduction. ZIGURAT is a leading online education institution with over 20 years of experience in e-learning. Our programs cover architecture, engineering, and technology management, helping professionals worldwide boost their careers. We are proud of our global community with more than 20,000 students from over 120 countries. So at ZIGURAT, we believe in unlimited possibilities, unlimited knowledge, unlimited future, unlimited success, leadership, and imagination. So that spirit of limitless growth begins right here with all of you. So before we begin, let's try to make it a little bit interactive. So we would love to know, where are you joining us from today? If you can, please share with us in the chat, where are you joining us today? I'm here in Barcelona. I'm Brazilian, but I'm here in Barcelona talking with you. So let's try to keep the energy high today and stay connected throughout the session. Oops, maybe I didn't open the chat. Let me open the chat for you so everyone now can chat with us. And now you can share on the chat, where are you joining us from today? Great, nice. I already see some people from Saudi Arabia. Our speaker from today is in Poland. We have people from Ireland, Berlin. Great. We are really, really global. Nice. Welcome, everyone. So today's masterclass is directly connected to our Master in Global BIM Management. This program prepares professionals to lead BIM implementation in organizations and projects worldwide, with a strong focus on the three essential pillars of the BIM excellence, people, process, and technology. It's a one-year, fully online program that provides a complete understanding of BIM methodology across the entire building life cycle. So throughout the masters, participants learn how to design and coordinate multidisciplinary models, structure and manage a BIM process and standards, implement collaborative environments, and apply international frameworks. So the program includes practical exercise, real case studies, and hands-on work with industry-leading BIM tools. With the guidance from an international and high-level faculty of experts, students gain the skills to take on roles such as BIM manager, BIM coordinator, digital construction specialist, implementation consultant, and digital transformation leader. So the next edition begins in May 2026. So feel free to scan the QR code to learn more about these masters. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce today's speakers, Karol Argasiński. I'm sorry, Karol. I'm really bad with the names. I'm Brazilian, so your name is different from me.
Almost perfect.
So Karol is founder and CEO in BIMfaktoria. Karol is a heritage-focused architect and BIM specialist whose work bridges advanced digital technologies with the conservation of historic architecture. Through the BIMfaktoria, he leads comprehensive open BIM-based documentation and BIM implementation initiatives across the AEC industry, while also serving as the executive point CAB partner in Poland. Karol is also professor in ZIGURAT BIM Master programs and an active contributor to the BIM initiative and the Building Smart Poland. A quickly reminder to our audience before I pass you the floor, Karol. Feel free to send your questions or your doubts in the chat because we will address them at the end, okay? In the Q&A session at the end of the presentation of Karol. So Karol, thank you so much. Welcome. And the stage is all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Thaisa. Greetings, everyone. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are. My name is Karol Argasiński. I'm right now in Poznań, Poland. I'm based also in Warsaw. And today I'm going to share with you some of the thoughts and some of the ideas on actually how you can navigate through openBIM, how it can be beneficial for you, and what is it exactly? Because I can imagine that there are different users, different people who wants to use openBIM. Maybe you're already using openBIM. Feel free to comment. Feel free to share your thoughts. We are here for you. So Thaisa explained everything about me, so I'm not gonna waste more time into this organization. But there is a couple of things that I want to mention. Specifically Building Smart. Building Smart, I will speak about organization, but check in your country if there is already the established chapter, because maybe you can join. It's open for everyone, and we are here to welcome you. And in ZIGURAT we have a cooperation with Building Smart. I'm from Building Smart Polish chapter, where I work mostly in educational domain, but I'm also founder of Heritage Domain. This is my interest, both from academic and commercial ideas. And speaking of academic, I totally recommend everyone to join also kind of free initiative, a BIM dictionary. If you haven't heard about that, it's very nice tool to get all the acronyms, because we BIM people, the nerds of BIM, we love BIM acronyms, and this is a great place to just register, log in, and get knowledge from. So I would like to start with Tower of Babel by Peter Bruegel. It's a very familiar painting, and the idea is behind that, coming from Bible, that we had many languages. We wanted to we had one language, sorry. We wanted to go up and up to meet God on the same level. And then, we had our plans crossed, and we speak different languages now. Of course, this is coming from Christianity, but what's the idea here behind that? The idea here is this is our construction sites. We have situations where actually we are not able to speak in the same language. This is mostly by technical barrier. This is mostly happening because of the, I'm not gonna go into construction kind of specific things because you are more professional probably in that region. But the idea is the issues that can happen when we do not cooperate and we do not collaborate in proper environments. It is a disaster and lose of money. So what can we do? And here a couple of thoughts, food for thoughts, coming from the idea of interoperability, because this is something to put a little bit time on. So we can imagine that we all get some kind of information, we get some data, we view it and gather. Then the data is being processed to become a useful information, right? That would be great. That would be the best. To have information for design, for construction, for operations, for every single part of the life cycle of design. So we have to communicate based on that information. And this communication should happen with validated information. It should go through the suitable people, and it should happen in the appropriate time. So that information then can be used and reused, and that means it's going to be an information exchange. And if we speak about the degrees of operability, because we should start with that, and there's also Wikipedia explanation later on for it. But operability itself, there are different stages, there are different phases of operability. We have compatibility, we have de facto standards, and we have interoperability, which is our today's focus. Compatibility is when you have different systems. Mostly all of that is coming from IT, as half of the BIM related stuff. The rest is aeromotive and others. The compatibility, meaning the synchronization between particular systems. Then we have a de facto standard. So we have one standard. This is our dream always as BIM managers or BIM implementators, to have one single standard and then work it out in our offices, on our construction sites. But there is something interesting, that we have a standard which we go around, which is the interoperability. And this interoperability should go through technical stuff, the semantics, the organizational, and also how can we gain it? This is the question that we should bother ourselves with. Well, it should happen through unification, through interchangeability, and also the compliance. So what kind of idea does it give us? That means that interoperability itself, it's a freedom of choice. It's a moment when we all can speak in one particular language without any barriers. So here I'm just leaving this for the moment, that we work in, and we want to work with multiple organizations to work together and exchange information. So it is apparent that nowadays, if we think about this kind of situation in AECO industry, the open standards and open BIM is getting more and more interest. It's getting more and more practical, and it's more and more possible to work with it in different tools. But the buildings also are getting more complex. And at the same time, projects needs to be delivered in shorter terms and times. Many times we exceed costs. We have several disciplines which needs to work together. We also will have several, if not more than several, issues to be resolved on just a site. I'm not even speaking about other phases of the construction of the project. We can have a situation when the poor resource and budget management happens. And well, as a BIM manager, I remember this was my the tipping point of stress when there was a new equipment coming to the office, and well, everything has to be restructured and so on and so forth. Of course, we have standard operating procedures for it normally, but well, it's not always perfect, right? But there's an overall thing that we should all think about, which is, well, the methods of collaboration changed. There is a difference between just sharing models from one company software, or just working with specific people that we have on the project. We can do anything we want right now. And what's the essence of it? Well, the essence of it is openBIM standard. It's an ISO-based standard. It's an IFC file, which is containing two things. I'm going to go through every single part of it later, but containing two main things interesting for us. So this is different than CAD. This is different than other specifics, but it's geometry and it's data. In BIM, the information, so to speak, data, is the most important one. We can have a simplified geometry, but we can have an amazing, very detailed database, which then should be transferred in some kind of readable format. In this case, we can say that IFC is this kind of format that works in every single place. So it's not going to work on your intelligent fridge, but well, you can be certain that for your Linux, Mac, and Windows, there will be a viewer that will, for free, open this file without any issues. And well, what we can say on the right, you can see the different types of models that may appear in your on your projects. But in general, we have to understand a couple of different things regarding those different models and this different method of work. So first of all, the ability to collaborate in a model-based environment. So we, of course, can say that let's do it in maybe our ArchiCAD, or let's do it in Revit or other environment, right? But what happened when me as an architect, my office is ArchiCAD based, and there's another structural engineer from Saudi Arabia that I'm collaborating with, but he's working on Revit. And someone else is working on Allplan and Tekla and so on and so forth. So many different types of systems, they clashing with each other. They are not so certain sometimes how to collaborate, right? There is a possibility to use more effective workflows. So that means it can bring some automation. And using a single source of truth, which can be this open file, to extract any necessary information, because, and now a little bit of nerd talk, under the hood of the file, it's a text file. So for those who know what I'm talking about, great. For those who don't, I will explain. The text file means that if you have a notepad, you write some text. This is your text file. So every program or every file is encoded in some way. And this is the same with IFC. It's just encoded list of links and strings in one specific file. End of nerd talk. So now we have an, of course, easier and more effective coordination, hence because we have one specific type of file, type of standard, which can be distributed throughout every single platform that operates in that standard, or software or viewer, and so on and so forth. By software, I mean BIM authoring tools. So we can also speak about more effective budget and resource planning. And because in this case, the licensing issue might be more stable. We might not need to update every single time the new, sorry, the new kind of license, the new kind of software. We live in a moment when we all have to deal with subscription models for software, and for having an office, if you have an office or if you're working in the office, you know that it's always a costly investment. So it doesn't mean that please do, I'm not saying please do not invest in the software, because that makes sense. It's of course giving new functions and updates and so on and so forth. But I will also show some alternatives today that might be interesting for you, and so on and so forth. So those I'm putting those four models, but in that we can say that all of that is data. All of that under the hood, there is a metadata. So the concept of metadata is, let's say, one wall has a specific set of information. What is the material? What is the structural information? Is there any zone connected to it, or which on which floor this wall is, and so on and so forth. I will show it later. So we can think about those models, and we can think about those environments as a specific type of metadatas. So where do we go with all of that? There is a cool, and because part of my heart is academic, so I'm gonna share a lot of interesting things for you, I hope. There is a Artem Boyko. He did an amazing job with managing the history of open standards and managing the history of BIM. And I just invite you to Google because it's a Miro board. It's like a graph, a living graph that you can review every single part of it. So this is a long-going process. It's going from for almost 40 years right now. And the moment that we are now, it's going for that amount of time. And who started it? Well, you might not believe, but it started with Autodesk. The Autodesk, who it was a partner in creating the AIA, and in that case, that later on resurfaced as Building Smart. And now all of the partners like Autodesk, Graphisoft, Tekla, and so on and so forth, they joining, they collaborating, they together trying to collaborate with Building Smart International. Building Smart International itself, it's a place where you actually can work out the idea of working with everyone. So it doesn't matter what kind of software you use, doesn't matter who you are, whether you are architect, structural engineer, MEP designer, and you have software XYZ, you're good to go. The moment that your software can export IFC in certified way, you can work in openBIM standard, which is an IFC. Here, just to explain the concepts and to give you a couple of different ideas on those concepts. So we have, and most of us work in native BIM, so to speak, closed BIM. A native BIM, it's a moment when we work in native software. So, for example, again, I'm working in ArchiCAD. So for me, the native file would be the .pln file. That would be my native file for projects for every single person that works at the company. We also have teamwork projects, so this is going to be also based on PLN and so on and so forth. There will be Autodesk Revit, RVT. There will be NWC, or the NWD, which is coming from Navisworks. This is a software from Autodesk for collaboration. But it's a closed environment. What does it mean? You might say, oh, but Karol, I can work with my MEP and my other engineer and so on and so forth. I can work in Revit. I can work in Navisworks, right? Well, that's true, but what's next? Can you send your project based in Revit to Cost Estimator? Can you do other things which still will keep all the data intact? Can you export the RVT file to the platform which will be readable for everyone? And the most precious issue that we have, and here's the example, this is a governmental example. Imagine let's say, architecture department in a country wants you to deliver a BIM project. And there's going to be public BIM procurement. And they will say, okay, we want to have it delivered in the specific format, let's say ArchiCAD format, right? Well, that means already that 70% of companies, let's say, are cut out from the bid because they do not work in ArchiCAD. They work in Revit, for example. What it also means that if this governmental unit, they would like to have a sort of, let's say, backup or go back in 5 years or in 10 years to that software. Well, in terms of Autodesk, in terms of Graphisoft, we might say, yeah, in 10 years, those softwares will be there, right? But who knows? Maybe not. Maybe there will be something else. Maybe there will be new format. Is this not future-proof format or not future-proof work? This is kind of a thing that is a problem, and it's a real threat for our data. I'm dealing with that specifically with heritage, because if we want to think about archiving of our buildings, then what is the possibility? I am able to read my IFC 2x3 or 1.0 file today with the newest software or with the newest viewer without issues. So think about that. And what does openBIM has that normally we miss from time to time? Well, it's basically a data exchange that happens there. It happens through different standards from IFC, through BCF. It fits the purpose, it has no monopoly, and it's, as I mentioned, future-proof. So we have an openBIM workflow, and this openBIM workflow can be based on IFC. That means that the central file or federated overall model can be exported in the IFC. So all of the domain models, so let's say architectural, structural, MEP models, they are being exported in the IFC. So the current, let's say, snapshot is being saved. And then you have model which is readable for everyone. It's allowed to take comments on that model elements. and also to allow to make some changes by coming back to your native, exporting, importing, and exchanging those models, and so on and so forth. There is a hybrid possibility to collaborate also, noted by Building Smart, that we, of course, work in overall IFC space. We can have some domain models which are IFC based and maybe they are natively IFC worked. There are software that can do that. But we can have different partners in our project that they work in totally different software. They do not have to work in one Revit or one ArchiCAD or one Tekla or Allplan. It can be anything. But the moment it can export us the IFC file, well, we're good to go. And we can speak about the coordination model. So this is something that might be interesting for you if you are thinking realistically about implementing openBIM. And this is your biggest benefit, meaning, again, if you want to work with anyone that collaborates in that schema of the file, you can do that without any issues. It's just the matter of requirements. About requirements, I will speak at the end. So in that term, we have different types of models, as you can see. This can be electrical, this can be HVAC, this can be structural, the timber model, and also that can be a cladding, which is the architectural model. There's another files. I wonder if we have structural engineers here. There is an open data called .saf. This is a file that provides you the analytical information that you can import, for example, to Autodesk Robot, to other software that you're working with, which is based for analytical work, like SIA, for example, and so on and so forth. About standards, about all of those acronyms and so on and so forth, there are many things that happens in Building Smart. Of course, the core idea is the openBIM, which contains different standards and different also services, and also different certifications. So if we think about standards, we might say there is an exchange standard, the IDS. We have the IFC standard. We have the BCF for communication. We have OpenCDE as a concept standard for common data environments. For those who don't know what common data environment is, the common data environment is this one place where you navigate and modulate your project. I will showcase that today as well. And with the use of openBIM, and we have different services connected to it, which is for validation, for checking the model, and also the BSDD, Building Smart Data Dictionary. With that, we have certification, and there are two types of certification. One is for us, the users, and so professional certification, and other is the software certification, which is for your software. And how does it work? What's the center of a central idea? What is the main core thing? Well, the core of the standard of the system, let's say, of the workflow is the IFC file. So this is the place where actually you can store your information. This is your geometry, your model. But this model has to be checked. This model has to be somehow verified. For that, we use IDS, which defines information requirements. All of that can be talked through the BCF on the Common Data Environment platform, and the IFC itself can be validated to ensure its quality. And also there is a BSDD, the service that provides meaning to our projects. I will show that on the case of heritage objects. But imagine you have a specific vendor of equipment and you do not have information on that in your software because, well, why should you to have a specific vendor there? Fear not, probably it's already on BSDD. If it's not there, you can set it out yourself. So IFC itself, this is, I would say, as I mentioned, the snapshot, it's a restricted copy of the original native digital prototype, so your building. It's not intended to be edited based on an open data schema. It's changing right now, and we have the possibility to edit it, of course, but that means, again, coming back to requirements, that we have to set out the boundaries. What do we edit? How do we edit? When do we edit? We, of course, as I mentioned, this is a standard, so there is an ISO which base the standard about, and it's called 16739. And this standard, it's updated last year in April. This means that it's updated within the newest revision of the IFC itself. So this is our storage management. This is our file to maintain all of the information, to have not only geometrical but data perspective, and it provides specific rules to that. If you want to know which standard, because I mentioned the version of the standard, if you want to know which one is the correct one, which one is the last one, fear not, Building Smart has you covered. And there is a website for IFC specification database. In that database, you can check which standard is the last one. There are two main I will mention. The one is IFC 2x3. It's older version. But why I'm mentioning older version? Well, you might think, oh, we don't need the older version. But just to give you a glimpse of idea, this was when it came out, this was the standard mainly focused on buildings, mainly focused on architecture. It has some kind of specific, of course, the IFC itself has some specific build, it has some specific structure, but that means that we simulate the real project, we simulate the building itself, the real scenario. So we have a specific project, which of course happens on the site. On the site, we will find a building. Building will have its own floors, and there might be also some kind of context. Each of that operates on the different entities, on different properties, and that creates sort of one specific space for our standard. There is the structure of an IFC is quite well organized. I wouldn't say the simplest, but I would say very well organized. As I mentioned before, so we start with project which defines a general information. Then we have the site, building, story, space. So this is a spatial level of our project, which can be also handled with GIS. And we have element level. So as you can see, we gradually going down with, higher with the detail. So down just debunking the project. Then we can go level down to resources, and all of that is binded by relations. So yes, IFC material is a good thing, which delivers us information on, well, everything what you have in your building. What it's containing, what it's built from. So here, just to give you a glimpse, for those who never saw the file itself, this is the structure, let's say. This is the idea of this kind of file. So, not file, sorry, building element. So in that building element, which is an IFC file, we can see that there is some kind of properties. Of course, it has a graphical meaning, but there will be properties. And those properties might differ and also may be dependent on what was required in the project by you. There is a concept that is worth mentioning in all of that. It's called MVD, Model View Definition. So the easiest explanation is the graphical explanation. In a cool book called just BIM Manager and Practical Guide for BIM Project Management, I totally recommend this book. There's a newer edition right now. So we have the IFC schema. This is a full Rubik cube, let's say. And then we have an MVD. So we have very specified Rubik cube. That means that this dictates the specificity and satisfies a specific person in our project with delivering only information that is necessary, only information that is for that person. How do we work with this file? Well, just to show you graphically, we have different people connected. Let's say I'm the guy with ArchiCAD, and I'm working with my engineer. I'm preparing first the model. The model is being prepared and sent to first revision. It's being downloaded by the engineer, then it's being sent to me with changes because the engineer thought like, oh, all the load-bearing elements this architect guy gave, it's like total trash. So I'm gonna do it the right way, right? And he's sending me the new version. And then the new revision happens, the new loop happens. And this is the overall, let's say, flow of data. This is how this information is being exchanged. And this will be probably exchanged in your CDE, Common Data Environment. All of that means that, well, there is a thing of communication. So you have to communicate between each other with this specific format called BCF. So about that in a second. Well, who likes emails? And hands up. I'm not a fan of emails. I really, Taisa knows that I'm not a fan of emails, and I like to organize databases. So the idea is that, well, openBIM helps you out in this. If you are a freak like me in terms of organization, the openBIM is great for you because there is something called BIM collaboration format called BCF. And we might say it's a WhatsApp for BIM. It's a very simple thing to use because just an IFC, just the format for our files would be nothing if not for communication. So the idea is that we communicate about anything regarding the project. So any element, any kind of information, any related data from maybe construction site or documents should be then coordinated on via BCF. And this is basically tracking issues. This format helps you to track all of the issues which can be identified, they can be issued, and then can be solved. So there is some kind of a to-do list happening within your model, which is very helpful. And it's all open data. Again, it's going to prevail for years. Which is great because that means, like with good common data environment, you have to save all of the documentation, all of the communication, all of the logs. So the information around the system. And how does it work? Well, just in short, we detect an issue that can be manual or automatic. We can open a comment, we create a comment, then we save it, we send it. That can happen over email, but preferably through the common data environment. Then we review this, we try to check and put out the data, and we ask ourselves, does it solve the issue? If no, well, the loop happening again. If yes, we close the comment and archive the file. It's very simple. And how do we know that it works? How do we know that it tracks? Maybe it's just a picture that we connect to our message, right? And maybe the system just knows how it works. But how? How does it work? Well, there is something called GUID, which is a globally unique identifier. And this global unique identifier, it's an ISO for that. It's a set of numbers and letters which defines you in every single element, will define you what is the barcode. Like all of us has different barcode, let's say, in our documents, right? We have in our IDs the individual ID number. So this is exactly the same for every single element in BIM model. So if I'm gonna connect the message to this window, and this window is gonna be updated throughout time, I'm gonna see whole system and whole messaging about that particular window. So here are a couple of rules for you, which I think are valid to remember. Well, we do not delete elements, which we will need for later, because this will change this naming. We edit them, so they stand the same object. They do not change this principal number. We keep file clean, so no duplicates. We have a backup of the file in case something happens. And you have to keep file naming correctly and also the issue naming correctly and so on and so forth. An online system mostly going to do it automatically. So for example, good common data environment. So just to showcase throughout the common data environment, maybe we will have another webinar on common data environment. This is the situation where we coordinate our project, and then the sort of talk through about the issues on the project, the model happens on the platform. But for this, we can use BCF. And now it's a screenshot time. This is the moment where you can see how those two formats, those two standards can help you in the practical work environment. So in which BIM use, which is very important from the project perspective, in which BIM use and how we can actually use those open BIM standards. So whether you are architect, whether you are a structural engineer, contractor, there will be a place in time on the timeline of the project that you will use this format, those formats. And other services and standards that I mentioned, so there is a service called Building Smart Data Dictionary. I invite you to go there to visit this service. This is a very nice platform, which is basically a Google, but for your building. So it's giving you information and providing you a list of data, a list of like entities for your building. And I mentioned also IDS, Information Delivery Specification. Imagine in your BIM documentation, like BP, you stated that your building's gonna be done in BIM and parameters for the wall will be like this, and you will have information about load-bearing, non-load-bearing information of the element. Well, this is the tool, this is the standard that check this. So if it's rightly modeled. And there has to be a definition, because it's all computer readable, to be human friendly. So we want, for example, this is our statement, that all walls should have the property of fire rating in the set, some kind of property set, with a value being 1 off. And here are the parameters. So we putting it into the model, we making the rule sets, and after a couple of seconds, everything is being checked. I also recommend to check that. And we wrote about this with Artur Tomczak. Artur is co-creator of BSDD, and he's handling BSDD right now in Building Smart International. And we had a case study based on all of the standards that you saw with this particular building that I'm showing. So imagine you have a model, and this model has specific entities, specific elements, and maybe specific historical value. And in that case, all of the information can be inputted into specific core naming. And we used one of the classification, this is just to give you context, classification systems. This is Midas Heritage. This is something that is strictly for buildings in UK. But we thought, since the system is well adopted, well designed, here you can see how the system works in BSDD. So for example, if you want to have a door, because we know the door is a very good example, because in BIM, we just have a door, an IFC door. And for heritage, there's going to be 20, 40 or more types of door, depending on the country, of course. I'm not even mentioning, for example, La Fenestra or something else, so to speak the languages, but also that covers languages. IFC also will cover for you languages because it's interchangeable. And here, this is one of the recommendations to check after today. It's called Blender. For those who knows Blender, it's a free software. It's an open source software, and it always will stay open source. But there is a cool thing to Blender right now, which gives us the possibility to work with the standard, the IFC standard, also with BSDD services, and it gives the possibility to edit those standards. So to make your models workable. Imagine a perfect scenario, which is a kind of thing right now, that you deliver a model in IFC, and this model is being usable by the municipality, by the city, by the government, and without investing in, huge licenses. And after short training, they are able to practically use, and they are not scared, and they do not leave it on the, archive drive or something like this, because that happens all the time. So here's the same model, and I connected to it a specific database. In Blender, it has a plugin called Bonsai, and this Bonsai, it's a plugin that defines and reads out the IFC file, and it defines and it gives you the possibility also to build an elements based on the IFC. So you're getting all the entities, you're getting all of the information. So what you saw previously with the use of the BSDD, it can be also mapped here. So without any, analog or typing down or anything, you can have your asset to work out. And why I'm speaking about this particular case? Well, because we have to ask ourselves a question. Whom do we serve? For what is the purpose of what we are doing? Why are we using those files? The main purpose is to please the client, please the customer, but to give something workable for the client. So in this case, this kind of workable entity is the key, I would say, to manage as well. And here there's an interesting word that I read in the morning by Petru Konduraru. You can check him on LinkedIn. Petru is the apostle of bonsai, I would say, and openBIM, and I really like this idea. But he said something nice, that every AER, so Exchange Information Requirement, BP, should have this. As the first condition for delivering IFC models, the model must be a valid, so it has to be checked, right? It has to be something that brings meaning. There are services for it, free services. It's not, it's for checking, it's for actual work. It should be checked within the syntax. There should be a situation where you do not have any issues with that, because this is a myth which we should debunk, that the IFC export from Revit or from ArchiCAD doesn't work. We lose elements, we lose geometry. It's most of the cases, it's a human error, which we invite you to our master to delve with us and check on, because we can help you with understanding and analyzing it more. But just to finalize the presentation part, this is the need to change. So all IFC models must pass Building Smart validation service before delivery. So all the models should be derived there. And here is a bonus content for you. This is also the moment for snapshot. There is a global openBIM mandate collaborated with the European Union, which delivers information on how BIM works throughout the world and internationally. And also the biggest players, the Autodesk and Graphisoft, they created IFC handbooks. So if you want to buy the book, if you want to do openBIM well on your projects in authoring tools that you have, this is a great starting point. And here, because we live in TikTok era, we live in an era where everything is fast, and I know that we don't have much time, there is an idea of 2-pagers, so very short documents that can help you with with surviving on the field. And as a BIM manager, I'm always adding them to the work, because it's very, very well defined. So those are basic information delivery manuals. One is for IFC. So how do we work with IFC, how it can help us, how actually it should be edited, and then with the BCF. So how this BCF can be worked out. And last but not least, from the PDFs, from the materials, this is a free book, but you have to find it. So just type it down or take the screenshot to Google, and it's a basic knowledge on openBIM. It's a bigger document because around 200 pages, but I guarantee you that if you treat it as some kind of a list of information, and use it when constructing your documentation, like BEP, AR, depending which part you are in the contract, it's a great source of information. And extra bonus, since I'm coming from Building Smart, and I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't share this, there's a new IFC coming, because I mentioned IFC 4 that we have right now, but IFC 5 is on the go, and there's a free course for you if you go to that link. So again, this is a good moment to share, to take the screenshot. And for those who are here with us today, we have the professional certification level, the entry level for the certification of Building Smart. So starting today, you can, by going to this platform, go and have certification based on openBIM standards. In ZIGURAT, of course, we go higher. We go higher, and with us, you can get more benefit on openBIM. So we invite you, of course, to us to visit our global BIM program. And from the presentation part, I think, Thaisa, that would be all. I tried to be on time. So this is a Q&A moment.
Perfect, Karol. You make it seem so easy. Thank you so much.
It just works.
So we have a question here. Let me get back my screen again
Yes.
here. Sorry. Now I think you can see my screen. No, we have a question from Dimitrios here.
I already like this question.
Yes, perfect. So does openBIM take into account the ISO 70817, these numbers here,
The level
Karol?
of information need, Dimitrios, thank you for your question. In general, the level of information need, this is basically a separate webinar, I would say. But just to explain, its primary thinking, the thinking about IFC and openBIM standards, I wouldn't say it was designed for level of information need, but I would say, for example, there are two projects that I'm working on, and this is the first thing that we do with clients. We use the level of information need, the mentioned by you, the ISO 7817, part 1 from 2024. Based on that, we construct the specific exports and what actually should be delivered for the client, right? So yeah, for sure. And just maybe I will share, because it's a great question, I will share one particular slide. Just give me a second.
Yes. In the meantime, what was the title of the book mentioned?
BIM Cert Handbook, the 200 pages book. I suppose that's what you thinking about.
Thank you, Karol.
Yeah. So this is coming from another presentation, let's say, this is what I teach and also what I'm interested in, but it serves your question, Dimitrios, about the, let me just go here. This is, so imagine we have a building. This is the, here. This is the building that we worked on at universities, at Warsaw University, but also in Hochschule Mainz in Germany. And here's the proposed, let's say, variants, right? But those variants, I'm of course just making the classification right now as as a valid source of information, but you can imagine that we have a very specific kind of geometry, which is for maybe management, like this. We will have more detailed geometry and more information, maybe because art historians would like to have something about this building. So there is a connection to the specific Getty, which is the ontology system, and so on and so forth. So we can go in depth with those details, with those specific, I would say, levels of concerns, level of information need, and so on and so forth. Of course, there are other things to be validated through that, but I would say IFC fits perfectly in terms of the level of information need.
Great, Karol. Thank you so much. So we are almost out of time. So I will invite people to connect with you, Karol, on LinkedIn.
Yes, please do.
Okay,
and please connect with us in ZIGURAT.
Yes, also follow us on LinkedIn, follow our account from ZIGURAT, and also connect with Karol and take your doubts with him. Okay, feel free. And I will finish this session. Do you want to leave a message, Karol, for our audience before I finish?
openBIM does work.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Karol, for such an insightful presentation. And of course, thank you all for joining us today. Stay tuned for our upcoming masterclass and professional development opportunities. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and take care.